Welcome to the Happy Black Woman Podcast, where we're on a mission to empower women to transform their lives through personal development and entrepreneurship. We bring you all the information, inspiration, and motivation you need to create a life of happiness, success, and freedom. Now, please welcome your host, the happy Black woman herself, Rosetta Thurman.
Hello, and welcome back to the Happy Black Woman Podcast. I have another incredible episode for you today. I am interviewing the lovely Natasha Allrich, and it may sound like a broken record because I met so many amazing people at this event, Dr. Venus's Black Women Millionaires event in Atlanta, and I can't say how important it is to really put yourself out there, even when you're an introvert like me, and go to events and stay for the whole time so you can meet incredible people. And so I'm bringing you another one of those amazing women that I met, Natasha, and she is going to share her wisdom with us. Welcome, Natasha.
Thank you, Rosetta. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
And I'm so excited to have you. I mean, I had a chance to see Natasha on stage. At first, I was like, who is that? And then over the course of the weekend, I got a chance to get to know her and her vast knowledge of sales and soulful selling. And it's so important to really be aware of that, as so many of our ladies in the Happy Black Woman community are dipping their toe in the water of launching their business. So I'm so glad and honored that you decided to share your time with us today. So just to kick us off, I mean, everybody, you can read her bio on the site and in the show notes and all that stuff. We're just going to dive right in. And let me ask you to tell us, what's your mission? What's the work that you do, Natasha?
Ooh, that's a great, juicy question. Mission. It can feel so big, but for me, it's the piece that guides me every day to do what I do. It's the part of me that gets me up and out of the bed. It's one thing to wake up. It's another thing to actually get out of the bed, and do what it is that I say that I'm here to do. And my mission is pretty simple to me, and is very poignant, and it's to empower, to excite, and to equip entrepreneurs and those desiring to be entrepreneurs who really love what they do. Like a lot of my clients, they get into business because they have a passion about something, or they've discovered something that is really beneficial to them, and they want to share it with the world. They want to share it with other people. So they love what they do. They're excited about sharing it, but they hate the sales part. They absolutely want to avoid the sales part because they would rather just give it away or share it or serve in some capacity. But when it comes to talking about money and exchange of money for goods, for services, they want to shy away from that. And so my mission is to equip entrepreneurs, excite them, and empower them to feel good about selling and to feel great about sharing their service or their program or their product in a way where it's authentic to them and they can get paid handsomely, beautifully for the work that they do, and that it supports their life. Because at the end of the day, a business, the purpose of a business is to turn a profit. And if you're not turning a profit, you don't have a business, you have a glorified hobby. And I have seen so many women and men around the world who have a great idea or a great service or a great gifting. But when it comes to talking about that in a selling conversation, they would rather eat dry bread all day long without water.
I have never heard it put that way, but that doesn't sound like a good way to spend your day.
It's like the nails on a chalkboard. It's like, do I have to do that? Do I have to listen to that? And it's really because of our relationship with sales and our relationship with receiving. I see sales as synonymous with your ability to receive and not always be the giver. And as women, we're taught to be givers. We're taught to be at the forefront of giving and nurturing. I mean, it is by our very nature. That's who we are and what we do. But when you're talking about a business, that's an exchange. That's partnership. That's companionship. That is not about you doing everything by yourself. Nothing happens until a sale is made. So someone has to say yes to the very thing that you're offering.
And that is, I mean, Natasha, you just said a mouthful just in sharing about your work and your mission. It's clear that you know what you're talking about, obviously, and what hit a chord with me, and I know what hit a chord with many of our happy Black women listening, is, you know, the reason why sales is so difficult. It's clear that we all like spending money. I mean, we love to shop. We like to, you know, buy nice things. But I'm always wondering, why is it that we don't like asking for money or receiving money? I mean, I've gone through so many different issues with that in my business and finally learning to enjoy it. And what you shared is something that I haven't really heard talked about a lot, which is having a challenge with receiving. And when you said it, something clicked for me because sometimes we have challenges receiving compliments and help and so many things. It just makes sense what you just said. Do you find that, was that something that you found out through working with clients or observing your own self? How did that piece come up for you as, okay, this is it. This is what is holding us back?
Yeah, both. And it started with me. You know, I say that I am my best client. And in business, we all want to be our best client, our number one client. It started with me. You know, I'm a woman. I'm a happy Black woman, you know, to your theme and your brand. And I remember when, like any time in my life, and we can all kind of just, as I share it, to kind of survey your own world. Any time in your life when you want to get something done or accomplish a goal or create something, and you have to depend on someone else besides yourself, that means you are putting yourself in a vulnerable place where you have to ask for help. And we're not taught that that's okay. We're taught if it's going to be, it's up to me. We're taught figure it out and make it happen, right? We're taught to be strong, which somehow we made that mean strong means singular, like you got to be the one to do it. And so just by the very nature of that pattern, and see, I'm also a Caribbean woman, and so I have the benefit of being raised in America, being a Caribbean woman, having been exposed to going to Africa several times throughout my life, and I see this synonymous. This is a worldwide issue. It's just not a nucleus around my neighborhood or around your block. Women are taught by the very nature of who we are to be nurturers and to not allow ourselves to be nurtured. And the best thing that we can do for ourselves is to realize that we can only take ourselves but so far in whatever it is that we want to do. So we're talking about business. You want to start a business, you want to have a successful business or a sustainable business, or at the very least a business that supports your life so that you can walk away from your current career. Well, in order to do that, you could only take you but so far. At some point, you got to ask for help. At some point, you got to lean not on your own understanding and ask for support. Get wisdom from someone else. And that was my own story. You know, I teach what I need to, I teach what I needed to learn for myself. That was my own story. And I realized, thank God, 20 years ago, that in order for me to be a successful business owner, in order for me to be a leader, in order for me to truly be happy, I couldn't get there by myself. I had to allow myself to receive support, and I had to go through the trial and error of asking one person and then maybe not following through, asking someone else, and maybe they gave a little bit more but not to my full expectation, and then continuing to ask but learning how to ask the question in a way where people were clear about what my request was, and I can give parameters. They can agree to it or not, and we could dance the dance. And I could be okay. Like life could still be intact. My heart is still going to beat. Feelings, I could have hurt feelings, but they could heal. And at the end, I can manifest the vision of what I want.
Yeah. I mean, this is really a process. I mean, asking what I've learned, asking for help is a skill. Asking and receiving help is a skill. And it's a muscle that I've had to learn how to use over the past few years of growing my business. In the beginning, everything seems, it's okay, it's scrappy, you're hustling, I'm doing it on my own. But when you want to grow, it's like, now how do I ask how do I ask the right question? Even when you invest in something, I've invested in coaching and mentoring and all that. Sometimes, like, why am I not getting what I need? I don't really know how to ask properly.
Yeah.
I don't really know, and I had to learn that. So I love that you brought that up in your own journey too. And when you do decide that I need help, I'm going to ask for help, it's a process of really learning how to get what you need.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about sales or selling yourself or selling your services, your programs, your products, whatever your offers are, that's an asking. You're asking for the person to buy into the very thing that you say you can do for them. You're asking for the person to invest in themselves through your offer, through your service. You're asking them to take out their credit card and to pay you so that you can deliver on what you said you could do for them, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not really easy when people don't have the skill on how to do that.
No, it's not. And there's not very many women who look like you teaching sales. I mean, I know because I have looked around and I just met you at an event. I didn't even meet you online. So how did you get into this? How did you decide to start a business teaching and mentoring and coaching entrepreneurs around sales?
Yeah. You know, it's one of those things in life where you're not looking for it, but it's looking for you, you know? You didn't even know it was like there, you know, to like take on. I actually my first business was a nonprofit organization. That's something you and I have in common, Rosetta. I don't think you knew that though. But I had a nonprofit organization over 20 years ago for children, youth, and families. And it was a reading and mentoring program for at-risk youth in the state of New Jersey. That program started as a volunteer-based program serving 32 children with a volunteer staff of 25, or at the time it started with 13 people. And in 3 short years, I grew it to 125 families, as well as a sister organization in Ghana, West Africa, and I had a staff of 25. And I want to just earmark that I was 21 years old at that time. I had no business experience, no nonprofit organization experience. I had none of those things. What I had was a vision and the desire to help children learn how to read and be excited about reading. That's all I had. Just had a vision,
and probably
an idea.
A whole lot of energy. That's a lot.
Right. But that's all I had. I had an idea. And I shared it with people who I thought could help or that would be excited about it. You know, what turned into this idea wound up becoming a full-fledged organization over time. And when people would come to me and say, well, how did you do this? How did you raise this money? How did you mobilize the community to come together? How did you get a building for the program and a bus for the children? How did you do all those things? I did not realize at the tender age of 21 that I was selling. All I saw was that I was sharing the vision from the idea that I had. I was sharing the vision of what I thought was possible if we could come together, if we could work together, if you joined forces with my program. All I did was share the vision. It was later in life when somebody tapped me on the shoulder. This is why, hindsight is not 20/20 necessarily. Someone tapped me on the shoulder and said to me, do you realize that you sell for a living? And I was like, oh, no, I don't. I thought that was a curse word. Don't tell me that. I don't sell for a living. I'm not a salesperson. Because I immediately associated with that, car salesman that's slick and manipulative. I immediately went there. And I was like, oh, no, I don't sell for a living. They said, you do, Natasha. You help people to buy into the vision of what you see as possible, and it also serves them in what they desire for themselves as well. You do that naturally. And I denied it at first for a long time. And I'm sharing this because so many of you have gifts and talents and abilities, and you may not see them. It may be someone else outside of you that sees that gift and they're bringing it to your attention. And I just want you to, as you're hearing maybe a pattern or you're noticing these things happening in your life, pay attention to those, I call them God winks. Pay attention to those God winks, because that could be the path towards your purpose and your passion and the type of business that you can aspire to have. So for me, this person approached me and told me this, and I was really close to it at first because, again, I am not the salesman, car dealer person. But they helped me to see that this was a gift that I had. I had the ability to be able to craft words in a way where people could hear and understand it and wanted to get behind it. And so over time, I opened up a little bit more and more to the thought that this was something that I could add to my business. This was something that could actually help people. And when I became a coach, I filled up my coaching practice really, really quickly, which is not easy for a lot of coaches just coming out of coaching school and just getting certified. They're just learning how to actually do, the coaching thing, but not necessarily how to build a business. And so a lot of coaches were coming to me and saying, how did you fill your practice so quickly? What is it that you did? And so I kind of started to peel back or reverse engineer my process, and I realized there were significant steps that I was taking that I even did in my mentoring program and organization that lent to how I've built my practice and how I continued to replenish my practice as clients moved on. And so there was something there, and the biggest key was for me to be open-minded to it and not think that purpose and passion and mission and meaning only can show up in one place. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's a gift that you use in your nonprofit, but also one that you could use to support other entrepreneurs.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that was the birth of Enroll from the Soul and what we now call soulful selling. It was born out of people coming to me, other coaches, other consultants, even authors, asking how do they get their books out there? How do they sell their books? How do they fill their practice? How do they close deals? How do they get clients? And I started to go back and look at, well, what are the steps that I take? What are the things that I did to do that? And then that was where the system of the soulful selling system was born. And it's what we've been doing for the past 6.5 years to date.
Very cool. I mean, I love that this whole thing came through your nonprofit journey, because it's kind of embarrassing to admit, Natasha, but I didn't make the connection of fundraising and selling either until I actually started my business. And I was like, this whole process is kind of like what I did, getting people to make donations. And But I didn't call it selling. We just called it fundraising. And I was really good at it. And I was like, why am I making it so hard in my own business when I did this already? But it was a different mindset that I had to put myself in. This is the same thing. In fundraising, you're giving people an opportunity to really live their legacy, to do what they have always wanted to do, which is to help people. And you're giving them an opportunity through making a donation. And it's the same thing doing in selling, whatever it is you're selling, you're giving people an opportunity. And when I made that shift, it was like my first or second year in business, I was like, I'm giving people an opportunity to work with me so that they can do what they want to do with their life. It totally shifted.
Absolutely. I see sales as synonymous with service. It's serving in the highest way possible. It's serving you and it's serving them. And that's really important to know that it's a double-sided coin. It's not one-sided. Sales is not the way that I teach it. It's not something you do to people or do at people. It's not about closing a deal. It's actually about opening up a relationship.
Well, I know that you've given us so much already in terms of notes about selling, and for all of my happy Black women who are on the line that have never thought of it this way, I hope that you're taking on this new mindset that we're getting from Natasha. And really, I want to get some more insight on how you're now running your business. Tell us about your typical day. What does it look like for you, or a typical day or a typical week? What does that look like for you?
You have some juicy questions there, Rosetta. That's really a great question. Well, I like to wake up when I'm finished sleeping. That was one of the reasons why I started my business. Freedom is really important to me, and rest is even more important. And so I like to wake up without an alarm. I don't always get the opportunity to because I do have a young child. She's 8 years old and she's in school. So given her school schedule, there's days where I have to wake up at a certain time to make sure she's ready for school. But given right now, it's the summertime, I can truly wake up when I'm finished sleeping. So that could be about 7 o'clock in the morning or 7:30. Sometimes it's earlier, but it's the time that it's in my body rhythm and it's when I'm ready to wake up. And the first thing that I do is I wake up with a smile on my face because I am immediately grateful and thankful that breath is still in my body and that I get to live another day. It's the first thing that I do. I wake up, and when I'm present to the fact that I'm up, I just smile and I give immense thanks and gratitude that I have the privilege to be here another day. Then I look outside of my window. I have this beautiful crepe myrtle my mother gave me some years ago to plant. And it's about 5.5. Actually, it's taller now. It's about 7 feet tall. And it's beautiful, bright fuchsia pink flowers all over it. And I just love beauty and I love nature. So I look outside my window and I see this crepe myrtle, and it just adds to the happiness of my day because in that moment, I'm seeing God's abundance. I'm seeing wealth. I'm seeing plentiful. I'm seeing abundance. I'm seeing how, the presence of being, how all things are well despite what could be going on in the world and despite circumstances. In that moment, I'm getting a picture of beauty, and I know all is well. So that's the second thing that I do, and I do this every day. And if I wake up and I don't feel like that smile can come across my face so easily, then I scan myself. I scan my body. I'll scan myself, and I'll think about what can I immediately get into gratitude about. And I mean authentically, not the fake gratitude, like I want to say these 5 thank yous just so that I can, check it off my list. You know what I mean? But the real, what can I really be grateful for? And sometimes it may not even be about me. It can be, I'm grateful that I have an amazing, beautiful daughter who loves me all the time, every day. Or I'm grateful that I have clients who pay on time, who want to work with me, and who get immense value. Or it could be, I'm grateful that I have friendships that are rich and enriching. I can call people or send out a text message immediately and have access to people who may not be accessible for other people, but they're accessible to me. So I'll just get into a mindset of what can I be grateful for so that I can stir that up in myself. And then it depends on how I'm flowing for the day. Either I'll journal. I have a journal next to my desk in my office. I have a journal next to my bed, so I'm still in the bed at this point. Either I'll journal, and if I'm journaling, it's typically a free write to God. I'm typically just kind of, talking about my gratitude and my thankfulness. I'm dumping anything that's coming to mind, around anything on my day, or I'm asking questions and I'm free writing and listening for the answer. So I just free write until I'm done. And if I don't journal, I'll go into meditation. And I do a 20-minute meditation almost daily. I set my alarm because I want to, have that structure. I set my alarm, and then I just sit up in my bed, and whatever posture feels good to me, I close my eyes, I take a few deep breaths, and I just sit still. And in the beginning, years ago when I was starting that practice, it was the hardest thing ever to sit still. Because I want to check Facebook on my phone, or I want to jump up and, get with the day, whatever is going on for the day. I want to jump into my office and get to work, or whatever stream of thoughts are running through. It took so much discipline for me to sit my butt down for 20 minutes just to connect with my breath and just to hear what I was feeling that Spirit wanted to speak to me around. I believe that prayer is when you're talking to your maker, when you're talking to your creator, however you name your creator. But I believe when you're meditating, that's when you're listening. That's when you're listening to the messages or listening to the cues. And when I take the time to do that 20-minute meditation every day, I tell you, it sets me up for a win. No matter what is going on in the world or in my world, I'm strong, I am grounded, and I am clear. And when you're strong, grounded, and clear, you're a conqueror already. So that starts my day. Then I'll have a sheet of paper, like even when I'm journaling, you have stream of thoughts and other things coming to mind. So I give allowance for that. I'll have a sheet of paper next to me, and it can be, other thoughts coming to mind, like, oh, remember to call this person, or send out this message today, or I might get an inspirational thought of something to put on social media. So I will put that to the side on that general sheet of paper, and then when I take it into my office for the day, I'll categorize it with my already, given action list. Because those things do happen. You have all kinds of thoughts when you decide to be still that will come in to try to distract you. So I believe that structure gives you a lot of power and precision, but you want to put it in a certain place. So I don't put it in my journal. I put it on another sheet of paper, and then I act accordingly. Another thing that I do, and it's really important, and again, for me, the premise is setting myself up for a win. I always say if you could set yourself up for a win, then you can build momentum from there. So I'll have next to me a 16 ounces of water. I fill it up every night. Sometimes I actually have a gallon of water in my closet, so I can just refill it every night and put it next to my bed, since I may not want to go up and down the steps. But I have a 16 ounces of water in the morning, and I drink that right away as a way to flush my system and get my digestive tract going. When I go into the kitchen, I'll either have apple cider vinegar and water, or I'll have lemon and water. And that's, again, just to kind of get things circulating, get things moving, allow things to flush, because flushing is important. And it's another way of, it's my coffee. It's my substitute to coffee, because it gives you a lot of energy and really wakes you up. So those are some things. I mean, there's other things as well, but those are some tried and true. I've been doing this for a long time, over 20 years, tried and true things that I do in my life that if I miss, how some people work out every day and they say, if I miss a day, oh my goodness, my day goes to hell. This is my workout. It's my spiritual, physical, mental workout. And then just recently, to be transparent, of course, and just recently I just started adding movement more consistently to my day. And for me, it's always nice if you can do, if I can do a 45-minute to an hour workout. That's not always realistic. So I do commit to at least 15 minutes of movement. And that could be stretches, squats, that can be planks, that can be sit-ups, that can be just, opening up my body, deep breathing. I'm just committed to moving. It can be walking in place for 15 minutes, but it's a commitment to moving my body and letting things stay limber, because I believe that when we're limber physically, it also manifests in our day as well. That's just another way to set yourself up to let the day be limber and flexible and not so stringent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that your morning routine is really a mental workout, a spiritual workout. We can get that through, and it's discipline through the strategies that you shared. Doing meditation, it feels good, but it's a challenge to sit still for me too. And I love that you mentioned that you're adding movement, and I love the word movement more than workout, to be honest.
Yeah.
My mom is like a huge fitness fanatic. She does that for her business, and it's just not me. And I've tried for years to, I got on the treadmill, I got to, do my, the machines in the gym. I don't like gyms. I would rather just be outside, and I learned that you could do a walking meditation. And so I was like, this is me. I can walk and look at the trees and appreciate what God has created. That's my movement. That's my meditation, and I love it. Now, am I, getting my heart rate up to whatever it's supposed to be? No, but it feels good. So I'm glad that you shared that with us, because movement doesn't always have to be like this, this thing that we have to beat ourselves up about if we don't get in, that sweaty workout.
Exactly. Moving is moving. And that's what we need, to let life continue to move, It's so synonymous. It's all symbolic. So, yeah.
Totally. Now, are there any things that you do to stay productive throughout your day and make sure that you're moving forward on your goals for your business as you go about your day, your week? Is there anything that you do around to-do list or any technology that serves you?
Absolutely. I am a true blue business owner all day long. And so as much as, it's funny to even say this because my friends would laugh and say, Natasha is one of the most free-spirited people you could ever meet. And as true as that is, I need to get on a plane every 3 months. I need to travel to a new location, a new place. Like, I am truly a free spirit. And since being in business, one of the gifts that I've received being a business owner is the power of structure, and that there could even be a sense of freedom in that structure. And so when I go to my office, this is pretty much my flow. I don't take calls before 10 o'clock. My first client call will start at 10 o'clock, and I only meet clients twice out of the week. Pretty much on Wednesdays and Thursdays are my client days. So that's the day that I do service delivery. And you'll hear me use different terms because I pretty much chunk or categorize my business and my day based on where they fit in the categories. So I have revenue generating time. That is the time that's focused on bringing money, bringing revenue, bringing business into the company. And then I have service delivery time, which is all about giving and serving my clients. So that's coaching sessions, that's speaking events, that doing calls, like this is a call that we're doing, the podcast. All of those things are under service delivery. I'm delivering a service. And then I have lead generation time, which is around generating leads, generating prospects, potential clients, generating business, those types of things. So I have different categories. There's about 5, and those are 3 of the 5. And when I sit down at the end of the week, I survey the week and where we were productive, and I also look at where we were not productive. And then I look at those categories: revenue generating time, lead generation time, service delivery time, those types of things, and I start to fill in what needs to happen for the next week going into the whole month so that we're being productive and that I'm meeting my markers. And then I put it on my calendar, so I'll schedule it accordingly. So Monday could be revenue generating time. That's following up with prospective clients. That's making sure that I'm booked for different events, those types of things. And if they're not on the calendar, then I know I didn't set myself up or my team up for us to have a win. I know that I'm hoping and guessing that money comes in, but it's not deliberate or intentional. And in business, you have to be very deliberate and very intentional. And so the planning piece is extremely important. Lead generation time. So we look at our social media. I'm looking at what we're doing. I'm kind of, gauging and ranging what's working, what's not, what could be better, what could be improved. And then I'm writing down different projects or ideas that come to mind to really step those things up. Service delivery time, I'm always looking at how to leverage that even more, how to give my clients more of me without necessarily giving away more of my time. And so I do a lot of batching when it comes to scheduling sessions. And again, that's on Wednesdays and Thursdays because typically those days are the times where you have to know your own rhythm. Those are the days where I do want to talk to people. Those are the days where I do want to just hunker down and really go deep, on one subject matter with a myriad of people. So you want to know your rhythm and what really works for you, and then fold that into your business structure. I know that Friday by 3 o'clock, I am not talking to anyone. That is when my brain goes left.
Yeah.
So I know that is not the day to have a consultation or the time to have a consultation. That's when I'll defer to a team member.
I don't want to do anything on Fridays.
But I know that if I'm doing anything in the business, I'm definitely not past 3 o'clock, So yes,
I love it.
I have a lot of structure.
And it sounds like
I do it
helps you create, what was the term you used earlier, to serve your life? Like you've been intentional about that, building something that serves your life. What was the term you used? It was better than that.
I'm not sure. I know structure gives me power to be empowered to set up my own systems for freedom. And the key, if you were to walk away with anything from what I'm sharing, is the key is to know, and this is something I teach my clients, you want to know your natural rhythms and your personality style. And you want to build your business, because you have the freedom to build your business around that. And that's how you create your structures. Because what might work for one person doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for the next person.
Right. Totally.
But you can have the same or better results.
I mean, this is so in alignment with what we've been hearing from so many entrepreneurs on the podcast, is the importance of having the structure so that we can live the life that we want. So, gosh, I feel like I should do a whole telesummit on this at some point, because it's so, everyone does it differently, but we all do it. So awesome. Well, I want to ask you a few quick last questions. I know we're getting close to our time with you today, to inspire our listeners. So tell me, what is your favorite book that has inspired you on this incredible journey you've been on?
Ooh, there's so many. Okay, one, Conversations with God by Neil Donald Welsh. That's the one. That's one that comes to mind. I have so many, but that's one that comes to mind. And the reason why that one is one of my favorites is because here's a man who went through life's hardships. I think he was even homeless for a short period of time. And he was very doubtful about his purpose, his walk, his passion, about life in general, even about if there even if it was even a God that existed. And he heard one night while sleeping on the floor, I believe this is how the story goes, he heard a voice, and that was the voice of God. And he started to have conversations with this voice, and he started to transcribe and write down his conversations with God. And I remember I read this book over 20, maybe 15, almost 20 years ago now. And I remember reading it, and I thought, I want to have conversations with God, you know, not realizing that I was, right? I wasn't conscious of that at that time. I was like, I want to have conversations. That sounds so cool. And then that is actually what supported me in journaling differently. Instead of journaling about problems and what I wanted to see happen in my life and goals, I started journaling a conversation that I was having with God. And so that's one of the books that's really important in my life, because it allows you to have the freedom to have a relationship with your maker for yourself through the lens of this person's story.
Awesome. Well, we're going to add that to our Happy Black Woman book list. It's very juicy so far. And if you could share with us a personal mantra that you have. We talk about mantras a lot in our Happy Black Woman community, and I choose one every year. Is there a motto or a quote or a saying that you live by?
Oh, yes. And it's like a little story behind it, too. In 1999, I was awarded a fellowship for something that a lot of people call now social entrepreneurship. And I went to the Fester Institute in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And this basically was getting together a lot of social entrepreneur leaders around the country together to have retreat time and connection time. And one of the things that we did was meditate. We had a meditation. And during that meditation, this saying, this quote just came to mind. And now, today, if you call my office voicemail, if you call any of my outlets, you'll hear the same mantra from 1999 that it's held strong since that time. And it goes like this. You want to take a deep breath on this one, okay? It says, or it is, the path emerges as you walk it. So simply walk it. And what that means is whatever path you are on, the one thing that I don't want you to do is to question if you should be on it. Because life will teach you that you're right where you need to be, or else you'd be somewhere else. But whatever path you choose for yourself, you know, say that's not where you want to be. Say the career you're in is not where you want to be, or the business that you started is not growing in the direction or the momentum that you desired for yourself, or a relationship that you might be in is not unfolding, you know, to where it's pulling at your heartstrings and you're happy, or you're a parent and your parenting, you know, could be up-leveled and you feel stuck. Whatever it is, health-wise, spirituality, put any category, insert that, you know, in there. But the path emerges as you walk it, and all you have to do is take the next natural step towards the direction you want to go. The next natural step, because what will naturally happen is the next step will appear, or the next person to support you will appear. All you have to do is recognize the path and take the first step in that direction, and simply walk it. That's all that's required.
I love it. You know, we got to add that to our list of mantras that will inspire everyone. And it reminds me of a Quaker saying that one of my former professors gave to me, and it says, "Proceed as the way opens." Proceed as the way opens. So it's totally what you're saying. You've gotta be walking to see the way opening up for you, instead of standing still and trying to visualize the path in your mind before you take that step. So I love it. It's from the Quakers. Lived my mantra a couple years ago. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Mantra.
You're welcome.
And finally, I want to see if we can all pick your brain while we're on the podcast and just have you share the number one quick tip that you would give to all of the women in our Happy Black Woman community who are thinking about starting a business, doing what they love, meaning they're at the beginning of this process. You know, should I launch my business? They've had an idea. They've had a calling on their heart for a long time, and they're starting out. What would be that number one tip you would give to them?
Oh, yes. This is the tenets of my company. My company is called Vision Manifest. And so if you're wanting to start a business or anything that you're moving forward in, and I do mean anything that you're moving forward in, or you're growing your current business, the best thing you can do for yourself and for the life of your business as well is to share it with someone else who can help move it forward. And I want to really clarify what I mean and what I don't mean by that. So often we get so excited as women about whatever our idea is or whatever our inspiration is. We get so excited that we start talking about it to everyone. And what can happen is you can talk to the wrong person. They could be a dream stealer because it hasn't landed in you yet and you're not fully confident or knowing what your next step should be. You can then have doubt or fear about how to move. So you want to, when you have a vision or an idea, you want to share it for sure, but you want to share it in the direction where the person who you're sharing it with can help you carry it forward. And so often in my world, that looks like a coach or a mentor. But even if you're looking at a coach or a mentor, you want to look with the lens of, is this person lined up with my vision? Are they lined up with my values and my ethics? And are they a few steps ahead of me so that I know they can truly help take me there? That's a criteria that I would give you. And it's some sound business advice. It's the tenets of my company. It's the principles we stand on. It's what I teach my clients all day long, and it's how I also live my life.
I love it. I love it. Wonderful, wonderful advice. Wow, I know that our time has gone by so fast, Natasha, and I'm glad that we had this time, not just for the podcast, but for me to get to know more about you and your work and your philosophies. I could sit here and listen to your soothing voice all day. So I want to know, how can our listeners stay in touch with you and really start to build that relationship, get to know you, and learn from the resources that you have? Where can we go?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, you can go to, and this is exciting, I'm happy to give this to everyone. You can go to enrollfromthesoul.com, and I'll spell it, enrollfromthesoul.com, enrollfromthesoul.com. And what you will see is a free, and I do mean free, just for you all, you can have this, it's my pleasure, audio training. And this audio training is the tenets of soulful selling. It's going to give you some really great foundational tools and tips on how you can turn conversations into paying clients. And no matter what stage you are in your business or in your idea of starting a business, you absolutely have to know how to sell. But the difference is you can do it in a way that really feels good, that honors you and honors your prospective clients. And what's so awesome about this training is that it's done interview style, sort of like this podcast. And so the person is asking me questions that will be on the minds and hearts of all of you who are listening. And I'm just pouring out the strategies and the tools in a step-by-step format that you can sink your teeth into and begin to apply into your life and into your business. And all you have to do is go to enrolfromthesoul.com enter in your name and your email address, and you will immediately get access to that tool and that service. And then because you're going to be exchanging it for your name and email address, you'll also have access to my Soulful Sales tips that come out twice a month. These are tips that I give clients, and they come back and say, oh, this worked, and these are my results. We highlight them twice a month in our community, and so you'll have access to that as well, in addition to just getting to know me and giving myself an opportunity to get to know you as well, and how I can support you in manifesting your dreams and your visions.
Wonderful. What a generous free gift for our community. I just went to the site and I signed up for it myself. So, ladies, please do take advantage of Natasha's wonderful free gift. In our community, we call it the free cupcake.
I love
everyone loves cupcakes, especially when they're free. So go to enrollfromthesoul.com, and we'll also post the links to that gift in the show notes and on the blog so you can stay in touch with Natasha. I have no doubt that this is not the last time we'll be talking, but let's make sure that you get those resources from her. Thank you so much for being with us today, Natasha. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, Rosetta, thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure and honor as well. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. And if you have not gone back and listened to all of the amazing women who we've interviewed so far on the Happy Black Woman podcast, make sure you do that. Natasha is just one of our many incredible guests that we've had on the show. So I hope that you will take the time, go back, listen, get more inspiration for your day today. And until next time, have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining us on the Happy Black Woman podcast. If you want all the show notes from today's episode, go to happyblackwomanpodcast.com. Plus, we'll send you a copy of Rosetta's free life mapping workbook. We look forward to empowering you next time, and until then, do something this week that makes you happy.